All right, what's up guys? I'm here at Central Rock Gym, Cambridge. We're gonna go over the best suspension training workouts for climbing. For this, I brought in the big guns. This is Stephen Bryant, or as we like to call him here, Tech.
I will be your trainer today. So suspension training is basically an apparatus that you can get for your home, but it does 1,000 different exercises. It's not a hangboard, it's not a pull-up bar, but you can work shoulder stability, pulls, pushes, core, your back, pretty much everything that you really want to get at. People usually ask me, like, what is the best thing they can get to put in their home? I don't say hangboards, I don't say a pull-up bar. I highly suggest getting suspension training, either in this sort of format or in the rings, primarily because you can get a very large amount of exercises with these, and you can just take them down when you're done.
Let's get started.
We are gonna work on push drills, mainly focusing on upper body for right now, mostly revolving around our pushing ability and shoulder stability during this. This is just a regular push-up, regular to your chest push-up. Basically, you don't wanna go like all the way down. Go a comfortable distance. You can go to 90 degrees if you want. We're really looking at making sure our hands are stable. If our hands are going all over the place, we need to lighten it and dial it back a little bit. And we do that by maybe dropping to our knees or raising the actual rings. So for this exercise, we really want to make sure our back is in line and we don't have the big steep curve in our back, or making sure our butt's not out too far. You won't really have to worry about that. When your butt's out, it actually makes it harder on you. Next exercise is typewriters, sort of adapted from regular pull-up typewriter, where you do a pull-up and you shift to one side and then shift to the other. We are engaging our core. We're also working on shoulder stability in this format. Same things to look out for are making sure your back is straight, don't want that dip in the back. A little shake is fine, but what you really don't want to do is have the severe instability in this. If that was happening, I would drop it down. I would go down to your knees. You can actually walk up into it to make it easier. You're putting more of your weight onto the ground and less on your upper body. So this is good for somebody who's never ever done a workout in their life, all the way through to professional athletes. Our next exercise is rollouts. Rollouts are really, really hard. I will not be doing them on my feet because I have some lower back issues. If you are struggling really hard with this, I suggest start with your knees and maybe even start in more of an incline. You always extend not past your comfort zone. So if you're only comfortable coming out to here, fantastic. Form is everything in these. Back needs to be straight. Really want to concentrate on getting through and out, being as stable as possible in this. The farther out you go, the more unstable it becomes, and the more likely you are to get something out of whack. This is pretty hard on your shoulders, so you don't want to do a ton of these. Yeah, don't push it too hard. This next one, we're gonna be doing flies. These are also really hard. I'm starting on my knees. This is a really good exercise for shoulder stability and just general wellness in your shoulder. The variations are basically exactly the same, either on your feet, on your knees, or you move forward to take some weight and put it on to your knees, or you can raise up the actual adjustment on it. Just like all of the other exercises, really want to focus on having your back straight, no arch either direction. If you can't keep your arms straight, I would suggest walking forward, putting more weight onto your lower body. We're gonna do some dips now. They are really gonna target your triceps on this one. Once again, shoulder stability. Not having a fixed bar allows us to really target all those smaller muscle groups. Dips are hard. They're really hard. Having all of your weight just on your triceps and trying to stabilize it is harder than it may look. You really want to focus on being in control all the way down and all the way up. The slower you do it, the better. If that is too much, there are a ton of different variations that you can do, one of which your feet are on the ground. You really want to have your elbows basically parallel to each other on the dips. You really don't want to get out here. Once again, shoulder back, engaged, down, back. But now we're moving on to our pulls. We're gonna focus on biceps and once again, shoulder stability on this. First one, pull-ups. We really want a good grip on the rings or on the suspension trainer. We're gonna raise up the hands quite a ways. They don't have to be way above our head for this. Like right now, I'm standing on the ground. We really want to have a pretty good form doing this. We're gonna start in a hanging position with our shoulders engaged. You can hold your grips a bunch of different ways. I like to do whichever's comfortable. I had mine sort of parallel, but you can also hold them like a bar, any variation of that.
And how do I make this easier now?
Easier, we want to put a little weight on the floor. I'm not saying standing in this position is the best way, but what we can do is lean back into it, and we can do pull-ups this way. The farther we have our feet out, the sort of harder it will be, but also it's almost infinitely easier than doing an actual pull-up. Variation on a pull-up is actually the next exercise that we're gonna do, called rows. Instead of up, we are pulling to our chest. Very similar to this, we're just targeting a different muscle group. We're gonna start off with our feet kicked out, shoulders engaged, and we are pulling up to our chest. Big no-nos in this, dumping your shoulders forward. You really want them engaged and back, pulling just to your chest. We're not trying to go out at all with these at the moment. We are just pulling into our chest, keeping our back straight, keeping that arch in our back as flat as possible. Really want your feet straight and the majority of your weight going through to the floor. To make this easier, we basically just take a few steps back. That puts us out from underneath the bar. Now we are a little bit closer and more of our weight is onto the floor. Our next up is offset pull-ups. This will put more weight onto one of the hands. So if you find yourself actually doing regular pull-ups and getting pulled to one side, you are dominant in one arm over the other one. You can actually adjust that on these to make one arm get a little more weight than the other one. Next exercise is actually my favorite. Completely relevant to climbing. Really works on cross-body tension, pulling with one arm to reach the next hold. We're gonna start just one ring. I like to go about shoulder height. We're gonna place our foot on the box. It's gonna be our opposite foot to the hand we are actually using. We are going to basically do a pull and reach all the way as high as we can. Only bringing the ring to our shoulder. We're not trying to go past it. It's quite difficult. This is probably one of the hardest variations. Things to look out for, your shoulders. You really don't want to dump it forward on this. Really try and get that extra pull. Set a goal for yourself. And if you find yourself getting into that territory where you're dumping your shoulder, really focus on maybe lowering that goal, really focusing on keeping your shoulder right where it's supposed to be. Our whole body basically is going to twist, sort of like a hip turn on the climbing wall, where you turn in and drive to the next hold, and you really want to keep your body as straight as possible while you're doing this. So variations to make this easier, just get rid of that box entirely, both feet on the floor, still working on the same things, really driving through the opposite foot. Your other leg can still be there for support and to help get that extra push. Last exercise, we're gonna do inverse flies. These are hard to get right. In an incline position, with our back straight And we are basically going to push our hands out. What you really don't want to do is pull in and then go out. You really want one motion, bringing your chest forward. Really focusing on center muscles in our back, smaller muscle groups, really trying to isolate all of those smaller muscle groups in our shoulders and in our back. Our back needs to be perfectly straight. We're actually gonna lead with our chest. So we're bringing our chest nice and forward. A variation to make this easier would be to walk your feet. I was doing them from about here, straight underneath, and you're actually gonna walk backwards a little bit, and that'll put more of your weight onto your feet and make the motion just that much easier. Remember, it's easy to overdo it on these. We're working out really small muscles. Keep small reps in a quality movement. Quality over quantity.
So if you have any concerns with any of these exercises, make sure you definitely check with your doctor first, your personal trainer or physical therapist. Make sure that you're able to do this safely. Thanks so much, Tex. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know if you like these exercises. If you want to see more videos like this, just leave me a comment below and we'll catch you later.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya.
These are so hard. No box, so take away the box. You can have both feet.
Hold on, let's redo that. Let's redo that. They're hard. Are they hard?